There is perhaps no greater conceivable rebuke. A former speechwriter for the current president, so dismayed by the current nominee for vice president that he has just said, in essence, Governor Palin, I knew Dan Quayle, and you're no Dan Quayle. Our number one story in the countdown, Governor Palin must be wishing she could trade Mr. Quayle, his potato, for her everything else. Like Quayle, Governor Palin has already become known more for her mistakes. Quayle's quintessential whopper as vice president, June 15, 1992, telling a sixth grader in Trenton, New Jersey, to add an E to his spelling of potato. The story of Dan Quayle, now says conservative columnist David Frum, a former Bush speechwriter, is he probably did 1,000 smart things as vice president, but his image was locked in, and it was very difficult to turn around. And Dan Quayle never in his life has performed as badly as Sarah Palin in the last month. I think she has pretty thoroughly and probably irretrievably proven that she is not up to the job of being president of the United States. Meantime, more Palin gems uncovered, or in this case confirmed, by the L.A. Times. Shortly after being elected mayor of Wasilla, Ms. Palin discussed her religious beliefs with a local music teacher, telling him that, quote, dinosaurs and humans walk the earth at the same time. Such a belief would jive with creationism, or perhaps Governor Palin mistook the Flintstones for a documentary. And on the CBS Evening News, again tonight, Governor Palin, when asked what newspapers and magazines she has read.
I've read most of them, again, with a great appreciation for the press, for the media.
Like what one specifically, I'm curious that you...
all of them, any of them that have been in front of me over all these years. I have a vast variety of sources.
That's a lot of newspapers. Let's bring in Washington Post columnist and associate editor and MSNBC political analyst Eugene Robinson. Gene, good evening. If you'd like to say hi to your faithful reader, Governor Palin, please feel free.
Really? I mean, I think she's busy with Le Monde at the moment, and El País of Spain, and maybe Asahi Shimbun of Tokyo.
That's right. She goes to Pravda.com a lot. Listen, all of them, most of them, these hits just keep on coming. We have had a month of ceaseless news. All of it makes Governor Palin look barely awake, let alone barely qualified. Is it possible? Is this just my paranoia coming out? Is it possible this is all a setup to lower the bar so much for Thursday's debate that as long as she does not lose a limb, the outcome is a push?
Keith, you couldn't make all this stuff up, I don't think. I mean, but has the McCain camp, intentionally or not, been able to lower expectations, several floors below ground? I mean, they're really subterranean at this point. Sure, that has happened. So if she does speak in complete sentences, I guess she'll be declared the victor of the debate. But it has been incredible. I don't think a fiction writer would write this.
And still, these Quayle-Palin comparisons, the ones that Mr. Frum said today here, that's, as they say in the sports world, brutal.
Yeah, it reminds you of some of the Dan Quayle classics, though. And you have to say, she's not Dan Quayle yet, because he had some style. He had some skills, My favorite, of course, is the United Negro College Fund slogan, "A mind is a terrible thing to waste." And Dan Quayle turned that into what a waste it is to lose one's mind, which I think is just a classic of the genre.
And much more insightful about his own persona than the governor has been yet. So this debate again, we discussed this previously, but these preps, you've got to look at this picture again. They decided to prep her near a creek to provide a relaxed environment and to allow us to use the phrase up a creek without a paddle here. Is this a good idea? Or is there a swimsuit competition? And if there is, should they not tell Joe Biden before it's too late?
I confess, I have no idea what's going on here. I mean, why go out by the creek to practice the debate? It doesn't mesh for me. If it works for Sarah Palin, maybe it does. I don't know. I mean, this is going to be so interesting on Thursday, and I'm almost afraid to watch and just to shudder to think what might happen. But it's going to be interesting.
And you still think if they pulled her off the ticket tomorrow, saying there's a family emergency and she has to withdraw, that the hit they would take would exceed the hit they will take if she does in fact come across like Mayor Winston from the Michael J. Fox TV series Spin City?
I just don't think they can pull her off the ticket at this point. I think the hit he would take from the far right would be just brutal, as you said, and he might not survive it. So, but then again, Keith, and let me quote Dan Quayle now. You know, I hereby stand by all the misstatements I have made. So I could be wrong.
But I mean, you'd have a natural excuse of some sort, and he could find another conservative, couldn't he?
Well, he could, but you know, Sarah Palin has an X factor, you know, that appeals to a lot of people, that has really energized the electorate in a way that, you know, Mitt Romney certainly wouldn't. You know, I mean, she has something there.
You're reading that out of a bunch of newspapers, and I'd like you to list all of them in the world. Just list them. Go ahead. We got 10 seconds.
Any of them that they bring to me, that they put in front of me, I read. Okay?
I read anything that's put in front of me, which means we could. If this fails, she's got a job at Fox News. Gene Robinson of the Washington Post and MSNBC. As always, great thanks, Gene.
Good night, Keith.
That's countdown for this, the 1,980th day since the declaration of mission accomplished in Iraq. I'm Keith Olbermann. Good night and good luck.